Welcome to the ROI Puzzle. I'm Nicole Stirling from Stirling Marketing. On this show, I sit down with leaders in B2B tech to untangle the numbers behind great marketing. Today, we're diving into strategies to fix attribution and pipeline gaps in MarTech campaigns. It's a challenge that drains budgets, stalls growth, and leaves even the seasoned team guessing which activities actually move the needle. And if your leads are dropping off somewhere between marketing and revenue, and you can't pinpoint where because your team aren't aligned and attribution isn't actually tracking the real buyer journey, you're not alone. At Stirling Marketing, we generate over $7 million in pipeline for B2B tech companies in 12 months with a campaign engine built to close, not just engage. Last quarter, we helped a tech client come in 73% above their pipeline target. And I've created something specifically for marketing leaders who need to diagnose what's broken fast. It's called the Pipeline Acceleration Roadmap, a 60-minute strategy session where I'll audit your funnel with you, map out a visual diagram of exactly where your leads are getting stuck, and send you a prioritized action plan you can take straight to your CEO or CRO. If you want to finally pinpoint why your leads aren't converting to pipeline and get a clear roadmap to fix it, book your free Pipeline Acceleration Roadmap at stirlingmarketing.net/roadmap. With that, let's dive into how we can fix attribution and pipeline gaps in MarTech campaigns. I'm joined by Tyler Will, VP of Revenue Operations at Intercom. Intercom is a customer service platform that helps businesses engage customers through AI chatbots, live chat, and messaging to improve support and drive sales. As VP of Revenue Operations, Tyler specializes in optimizing sales, marketing, and support processes to drive predictable growth and operational excellence across Intercom. So Tyler, welcome to the show. You've seen firsthand how complex attribution can get. And there's a saying every marketer knows, if you can't track it, it didn't happen. I'm curious, when you heard that for the first time, I'd be great if you could share that first story.
Yeah, Nicole. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. It's great to be here and get a chance to talk shop. So I really appreciate the opportunity. I'm not sure when I first heard that, but there are flavors of this that go around probably every part of the revenue stack, whether it's marketing or sales or solutions people. But this notion of if you can't track it, it didn't happen, has been prevalent for the last 8 years in my life running different sales strategy and ops and revenue ops teams. And the stories, they're probably almost infinite at this point. But the one I remember the most because it stands out as half a joke and half a real situation was we had an AE who insisted he would have huge amounts of pipeline, and the joke became that none of it was in the CRM and 100% of it was on sticky notes all over his desk back when everybody was in the office 5 days a week. And I think that that's such an extreme example of this problem, but to me always embodies it and sort of brings an ironic smile to my face when I think about this guy with Post-it notes of all the calls he needed to make and all the activity he was doing on his accounts. And it revealed the importance, not just for an individual to have a good system to manage it, but whether you're in marketing and understanding demand activity and being able to track web visits and video views and all the things that drive the top of funnel all the way down to a success team. How are they engaging with customers? Are they having QBRs? Are they following up on the customer's needs and pushing the right narratives through? If it's not in the system, you have no idea it's happening. It makes management really difficult. You can't be coached as well as if you're a rep or a marketer or anybody else trying to do their job better. And so very much a lived experience in many, many different ways. And not a surprise that it's top of mind for you as we kick this conversation off.
Definitely is. And I love that you actually use the phrase revenue stack as opposed to usually it's sales tech or MarTech. So I guess I'm going to tweak my next question a little bit since you have that phrase. Why is proving attribution uniquely tricky in revenue stacks full of disconnected tools?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the disconnected is the word doing all the work in that statement, right? They are, different teams, for one, owning different tools. So your demand gen team might own one tool that's tracking how people are clicking on different campaigns and following that through and how that's performing in the funnel. There's going to be another team running events, tracking signups and doing things. There's going to be a brand campaign claiming that everybody who drove by your billboard probably deserves attribution for seeing that particular signage or whatever it is. So one is the sort of disparate ownership of these things, and then often the systems themselves don't talk to each other, or you're not unifying your data on the end. And so one of the interesting parts about my job is first getting the people to talk to each other and understand each other, and then trying to find ways, since everybody does need a different tool, right? You can't have, there's not one tool that every single part of the revenue team can use. How do we bring that data together in the right way and work closely with our data engineering teams to try to find ways to agree on things? And then you've got to get everybody, once the data's there and sort of talking to sets of standard definitions, getting the right forums where the teams are coming together and talking about things, making sure, when we say conversion rate, we all think about conversion rate the right way. When we talk about attribution, we all agree on, a certain way of defining attribution, because it is a complex system. And it, I think by nature is always going to be a complex system. But when it's hard to talk and everybody's trying to do their day job and the data's not there, it makes this particular problem extra difficult.
So you've talked about multiple teams. What does your revenue team look like? Which skill sets do you have?
Yeah, so I mean, my team alone has as sort of traditional operators, people who kind of make the system run day to day and can get a lead or an opportunity from sort of point A to point B to the right people. We have a group of analytics folks who understand everything from the web down through closed won and renewal performance. And then we have sort of strategy folks that help us tie that together and make sure that we're doing something that fits into the larger business picture. Right? Data with no context is actually particularly useful, and so we try to bring all those skills together in RevOps and sort of sit in the middle of then the marketing team that actually has the sort of creative plus the analytical ability to run marketing campaigns and other things. We've got our sales team, our sales development team. And so we're working kind of in this big, broad ecosystem, and we sit a bit in the middle of that, trying to make sure everything runs smoothly, like kind of the notion of a big scalable machine, plus then the insights and the data coming out of that we can tweak and optimize our business.
Amazing. So then what are some of the common pitfalls you've noticed, obviously in the past, when multiple teams own different parts of the funnel?
Yeah, I mean, some of these I think I've hinted at already. One of the big ones is sort of not having a common language. And in my roles at LinkedIn prior to Intercom, we'd sort of laugh about how marketing would get up and tell a story and everything was green and all the problems were, we're down funnel. And then the sales development team would get up and go, everything's great except for these terrible leads we're getting from marketing and the fact that the sales team can't close anything, but we're green and we're doing our job. And then the sales team would go, well, we're green, we're doing the best we can, but all these people up above us in the funnel are just really letting us down. And everybody point to data saying the same thing. And it wasn't sort of ill-intended in any way or malicious. It was just, it's everyone's natural inclination to try to tell a story that makes themselves and their team look good. And accepting that first and foremost, I think is really helpful for leaders higher up to go, hey, we're always going to hear a good version of the story if we keep these things separate. And so we have to find a way to come together and say, here's the data source we're going to use. Everybody's going to pull from this dashboard or this data table in your data warehouse. We're going to define our metrics certain ways. We're all going to come together and we're going to report it in one cohesive narrative, not 20 minutes for you, 20 minutes for you, 20 minutes for you, do your own thing. Because it is so easy to, just, we've got these metrics, we think they're important. Well, we think these other metrics are important. And we think even a different set of metrics are important. And so you just have teams speaking effectively three different languages to execs and leaders when they own those different parts of the funnel, that you have to kind of bash it all together to drive like a coherent narrative that actually lets you at the end go, we got a little bit of a problem in three places, let's go address that problem, instead of, doesn't seem like there's a problem, but yet we know the output is problematic or is really good, and we don't know what it is that's working because everybody's claimed credit for what's working.
Amazing. So what are some of the best frameworks that you've used to make attribution clearer then?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm such a consultant in my training for all those years. I think of a framework as like a nice diagram on a page, but maybe, sort of the mechanisms we've used, and we're doing one right now at Intercom is having a pipeline council or a pipeline review meeting where we bring our demand gen leader, our sales development leader, our sales leader all together in a room, and we look at one dashboard that my team has built and owns and defines all the metrics of. And that's really let us focus in on the truth to the best sort of way we can get there, which is, hey, there's this a third party, in this case, my team, that serves all of us. So there's not, it's not like we're the analysts for one party and everybody else is kind of a guest at our meeting. Um, but that with that single forum, the single source of truth dashboard that we all look at and we're all using really lets us sit and I think have an honest conversation about the business. So I'd encourage people to set up some kind of demand gen council, pipeline council, whatever you want to call it for your particular company, where you have a sort of neutral-ish party like my own is kind of the coordinator of that and the driver of it, because it's hard to cheat and it's hard to hide when that's going on, and it works quite well.
Amazing. Is there a number one metric that you're always looking at in that dashboard?
The biggest one for us is our sales leader has this phrase that he says a lot. Pipeline is oxygen. We need to grow our business and stay alive. And so we're generally looking at sort of weekly pipe creation and then the cumulative over the course of the period toward our goal. So that pacing to our goal is the true north. Everything under there becomes sort of in service of that goal. How many leads? How are they converting? What's the value of those leads? All that, but at the end of the day, we want to know, are we pacing toward our target, so that we have enough pipeline this quarter and in future quarters to feel good about the business performance.
Fantastic. Well, that was my last question for you. Tyler, where can people find out a little bit more about you or what you're up to at Intercom?
Yeah, absolutely. The best place to find me is on LinkedIn. Happy to connect with folks and certainly engage in any discussions. And I do fair bit of podcasts and AMAs on different places. So yeah, follow me there, and you'll usually get a good glimpse into what's going on in our world.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Well, that's a wrap on the ROI puzzle for today. Huge thanks to our guest, Tyler Will from Intercom. As he mentioned, you can check him out at intercom.io or on LinkedIn. And if you're a B2B tech company struggling with leads that aren't converting to pipeline, grab your free pipeline acceleration roadmap at stirlingmarketing.net/roadmap, and I'll show you exactly where your funnel is broken and how to fix it fast. Now, if you also want to share a story on the show, head to stirlingmarketing.net and click on Let's Chat at the bottom of the site. This is Nicole Stirling, helping you solve the ROI puzzle one conversation at a time.